Two Rivers Talks is brought to you by Two Rivers Biz Starts. Also by Two Rivers Main Street. And by Raleigh Point Economic Advising. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Two Rivers Talks remote broadcast. Hi, Darla. How's it going?
Hi, Todd.
We're really happy to be here with you guys today. This is Two Rivers Talks with Darla and Todd. We talk about all things Two Rivers, whether you are from the city, whether you used to be from the city, or whether you're thinking about coming to the city. This is your connection to all the great stuff that's going on here, whether it's news, fun, music, the arts, and more. We're really excited today to be able to have with us the Two Rivers City Manager, Mr. Greg Buckley, and Two Rivers Community Development Director and City Planner, Ms. Elizabeth Runge. Runge, I'm sorry, she's going to have to correct me when we get on. I always say it wrong. But and true to form, I'm horrible with last names. But I think we have them waiting in the wings for us here, Darla. So maybe we should just go ahead and pull them into the broadcast.
Okay.
All right. Here they come. Hello, Greg.
Hey, Todd. Hi, Darla.
Hi.
Nice to join you virtually here from Two Rivers City Hall. We're in the council chambers, so happy to join you.
Very glad that you could join us today. So we wanted to give you the opportunity to come onto the broadcast to talk a little bit about sort of how the COVID-19 virus is impacting the city operations, anything that you care to share with us about the nature of stuff right now. I kind of wanted to turn over the floor to you, and then maybe we can have a little bit of Q&A to follow that.
Absolutely. Thanks, Todd. Thanks, Darla. Well, of course, we're about 2 weeks now into the COVID-19 related emergency here in Wisconsin, following the declaration of a health emergency statewide by Governor Evers, several executive orders on things like the prohibition of mass gatherings, which of course are now defined as gatherings of 10 or more people, the safer at home executive order that came out earlier this week, really urging people to stay at home for all but non-essential activities. I would encourage any of your listeners to go out to the internet. You can go to the governor's office, just Google Wisconsin Governor Executive Orders. If you haven't had a chance to review the executive order. Obviously, this has an impact here in our community. We're grateful that thus far there have been no reported cases of the coronavirus here in Manitowoc County. I think it's probably safe, though, to operate assuming that it is among us. We know that testing has not been extensively. What does it mean for city government? Well, right off the bat, last week it meant that we did shut down any public access to some of our heavily used public facilities, the Lester Public Library, the J.E. Hamilton Community House. Here at City Hall, we are limiting access to the first floor lobby area, where we are required by law to continue to assist voters with in-person absentee balloting at the clerk's office and with voter registration. Democracy goes on, at least so far, amid the COVID-19 crisis. So I will touch on that voting issue because we still do have an April 7 election coming up that includes 3 positions on the city council, 3 positions on the Two Rivers Board of Education, our county board members, and then of course statewide races races for the state Supreme Court, State Court of Appeals, a constitutional amendment, and of course the presidential preference primaries on both the Democratic and Republican sides. That election is on Tuesday, April 7. The normal polling places, as it stands right now, will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. that day. We are very, very much encouraging people to go online and request an absentee ballot. It's very simple. Wisconsin has a website. See if I hold it up right here in the camera. My Vote Wisconsin. Just go to that. Thank you. myvote.wi.gov. You have until 5 p.m. next Thursday, April 2nd, to go to that site. You just punch in your name and your address, assuming you're already a registered voter. It will prompt you to provide a copy of your photo ID. If you've got a smartphone, it's just a matter of taking out your phone, taking a picture of your driver's license. It automatically uploads to the application, and within minutes, it's received here at the clerk's office at City Hall. Our city clerk, Kim Graves, along with her helpers, will get your absent voter ballot in the mail to you, complete with a stamped, addressed return envelope. About 1,100 of those absentee ballots have gone out. Most of the requests have come through the myvote.wi.gov website. It's a very efficient way to do things, and it makes all the sense in the world during this current pandemic emergency. Why risk yourself? Why put the poll workers at risk? Vote from the safety of your home. You will need a witness on your ballot when you sign on the outside of the envelope. Flag down somebody, get a neighbor to do it if there's nobody in the household. But it's so easy. Again, myvote.wi.com. You can indeed still come to City Hall for in-person absentee balloting during normal business hours, 8 to 4:30 through next week. And actually the very last day, Friday, April 3rd, the clerk's office has to be open until 5 p.m. They're here to serve you. We would love for you, frankly, to not come. If you can go online and apply for your absent voter ballot, that is preferred. Then, of course, the polls will be open on April 7th, like I mentioned. So democracy rolls on. There are some legal challenges to the election, but unless one of those lawsuits like the one from the city of Green Bay should prevail, we're here to serve the voters, and we're ready to hold an election. Very grateful to our election workers who get modestly paid, but essentially are volunteers that serve us at election time. So little heavy on the detail there on the election, but that's important stuff. City Hall, though, is presently during the emergency period open only for purposes of voter registrations and assisting with in-person absentee voting. We are not processing payments here. Customer service window, although folks are there and can answer questions, we are respectfully not accepting payments, not making change. If you want to make a payment, there's a drop box on the north side of the building that's built right into the building and bricked in. You can leave a payment there, or there is now a drop box in the lobby. If you're concerned about timely payment of your utility bill or taxes, you've got those drop-off locations. You could just drop a check in the mail. There are online payment options. There's a fee associated with use of credit or debit card, or you can just enter your bank number and routing number, like you might if you've had to pay income taxes that way, or are lucky enough to get a deposit into your account that way. And it's a $1 fee to do that direct transfer. So we appreciate people continuing to still pay their bills. We still have expenses as a city. As far as other city operations, it has changed the way we do business, as it has in so many industries around the country. We're being very careful about personal separation protocols for our own employees. We have a directive that none of our public works or utility folks are to share a vehicle. So yes, if you see 6 city employees arriving at a work site in 6 separate trucks, that's not the punchline to some old joke. It's in fact how we're operating these days to keep that physical separation. Police and fire, ambulance have made some changes in their protocols as to, first of all, if you call dispatch for assistance, you're going to get more questions about whether anyone in the household is known to have the COVID virus or is exhibiting symptoms of it. If that's the case, that gives our people, fire EMS or police, the cue to use appropriate protective equipment such as the N95 masks. Also, we do stage people slightly differently in emergency response in that a paramedic may first enter the dwelling and ask some questions and assess the situation there. If it's not an emergent situation where immediate attention or immediately attending to the person's needs there are going to be a few more questions. The bottom line is to make sure that we keep our emergency responders healthy to the extent we can, because they got to be healthy in order to be here and serve the community. Those are some of the protocols. Internally, in workspaces, we're trying to separate workers as much as possible. We've got some rules in place as far as quarantine if anyone is returning from vacation out of state. If anyone has a family member that's exhibiting symptoms that may be consistent with the COVID-19 virus, we want to make sure those people are appropriately isolated and quarantined if it's travel. If they've actually been exposed to the virus, if that's known, then they would be isolated for the minimum 14-day period recommended by Centers for Disease Control. So we've put together fairly comprehensive policies in that regard. These are being presented to City Council for their information on Monday. But the city remains in operations. Virtually all of our employees are deemed to be essential employees providing essential services as stated in the governor's order. We are also driving home with our employees, and they get it, that off-duty, those same restrictions on activities, on non-essential travel and other activities apply to them as well. And we do have an expectation of compliance because, again, we need them healthy. We want them healthy under any circumstances, but they all realize the community has needed their services, especially at this time. I think people should feel good about that. We're typically in the non-emergency areas of utilities, not entering into occupied dwellings with our personnel while this emergency is in place. We don't want to put the inhabitants of the houses at risk. We don't want to put our employees at risk. So unless it's a matter of a city employee having to come into your home to restore service or address an emergency situation, our utility folks will not be entered into occupied structures. I don't say all those things to scare people. We're fortunate. Last I checked, still don't have any reported cases in Manitowoc County, but all of those protocols are being observed. Our emergency services folks in police and fire stay in touch daily with Manitowoc County emergency government, Travis Walk and his people with what we're doing, and are in regular consultation with our area health care providers as well.
Well, thanks very much, Greg. Sure. And one of the things that occurred to Darla and I when we were just doing the community events segment for this was talking about the city council itself.
Yep.
You guys usually meet in chambers. I'm assuming that's not open to the public right now, but there still has to be some kind of community access. How's that going to work?
Well, again, thankfully, our state government, the Department of Justice, has provided guidelines for public meetings from remote locations. So our city council will be video conferencing their meetings until further notice. Council members will be able to participate from remote locations. We're using Zoom as the utility or software. A lot of folks might use that for face-to-face communications with family or in a business setting. We're new to that. We're getting some instruction today, as a matter of fact. Okay. But starting with the council monthly work session next Monday, the 30th, and until further notice, all of our council meetings will be by teleconference. We will continue to stream the regular council meetings on the first and third Mondays on the city's Facebook page, on the City of Two Rivers website. We will likewise be providing on those agendas a Zoom login for people that wish to view it on their computer or their electronic device, or if they only have call-in capabilities, folks that may want to call in and simply hear the audio from the meeting. Again, that's for the first and third Mondays, which are the formal regular city council meetings. We're still working out the protocols for public participation when you have public hearings, and have to make sure that people have the right to voice their opinions, their concerns on issues. But within Zoom, there are some utilities that will accommodate that as well. We will routinely be providing that access information on the posted agendas for starters, for city council meetings. We're putting many of our, and any board and committee meetings, I should say, that are also, I shouldn't have done that, that are held during the emergency, because we do have an obligation to make those meetings available to be viewed, to be monitored, if you will, by the public. But really, non-essential committee meetings, if it's something that can wait till May or June, that'll be our approach as well. But to the extent we are capable during this crisis, we still intend to keep with Wisconsin and Two Rivers traditions of open government. Not only traditions, but the law.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Greg. Darla, did you have any questions?
No, I was curious as to how the city council meetings were going to be handled, and I'm glad to hear. Well, the technology is fantastic, and you might as well take advantage of it. And this might become the new way we do business in a lot of instances. Who knows?
Absolutely.
But,
and there's one curve we're trying to flatten, but I think we're going to have, I'm not saying we have a steep learning curve. I think this is going to accelerate our adapting to technologies that have been around for a while, and facing government has been a little slow to adapt to.
Well, just ask Todd, the fact that when I knew we were going to do this remotely today, I was kind of freaking out a little bit because I'd never done it before. And of course, I'm always afraid I'm going to mess it up, but it was so easy to do. And when Todd's a good teacher, and he talked me off the ledge and everything was fine. And I didn't have to uncork the wine. So, and like with the TRBA candidate forum last night, and thank you for being involved in that. It went so smoothly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this really does work out very, very well. And I'm happy, but it is, all of a sudden it's like I had resisted this kind of technology, mainly because I didn't need to use it, but you're thrust into it. And luckily it is painless.
Spoken like a boomer, Darla.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We've been resistant to it. Necessity's the mother. And
that's right. Oh yeah.
It's that's changed things. And I think, we'll come out of this the better. Let's hope on a lot of fronts, but face it, you've been on city council. Our democracy is a great concept. How often, unless the council or the city manager does something to really tick people off, how often do you see any real participation in the audience coming physically to a meeting? So to the extent we can better accommodate folks electronically and have that interaction that is vital to our democracy, so much the better.
Right.
So we're learning. The good news too, looking around town, we were originally going to do this interview as a general state of the city session. I would point out, if you are out engaged in necessary travel or going for a walk, because by the way, there are places in Two Rivers you can walk and stay 6 feet away from other people, like most of the city. Get out and enjoy our trails, our parks. If you're downtown, because you're not going to be out on non-essential travel, but the new hotel, the exterior finish is being put on it. It looks beautiful. You can see it on the City Hall website, looking good. That $6.3 million project is ongoing. Riverside Foods, they're digging over there. They've got the excavators. They're laying foundations for their $8 million project, investing in a Two Rivers facility, adding 30 new jobs in the process. And you know what? Post-COVID, people are going to be eating fried cheese curds and other appetizers just like before. So we're happy to see those projects moving forward. There are some other projects that have hit the pause button. I'll mention to your viewers, the developer of the proposed culverts, Aaron Abt, still very excited about Two Rivers, very interested in that project. But when corporate offices shut down and the financial systems in the turmoil it is, probably looking at a little bit of a delay in that starting up. But we have a development agreement in place. Things are very positive there. This, kind of like President Trump has said at the national level, this was shaping up to be a really good year in Two Rivers. And we're hoping, I don't know about whether it'll be by Easter, but we're hoping we'll see things back on track and the good momentum that we had continuing. In the meantime, though, our focus is on the 11,700 some people that call this community home and providing a good level of service to them.
Very good.
So, and our
good messages.
Director, Elizabeth has been on the front line as far as getting information out to the business community on some of the SBA programs, the loan programs that are out there. The city only presently has 4 economic development loans out there through the BIDC. We've extended the opportunity for a 90-day hiatus in payments on those to those small businesses, and those are among the things. And I know Elizabeth's here and can fill you in further on the activities of her office. She's been on board about 6 months now. Been a wonderful addition to our city.
I was just going to say, gosh, it would be great if Elizabeth were here to talk to us.
And this would be a segue. Since we're sharing the same station, I'm going to first do the right thing. Don't anybody come. We'll sanitize this location. And by the way, this roll is not available. It's only a single ply. We will disinfect the surface. Last night on TV, I watched Dr. Sanjay Gupta demonstrating hand washing. This would be a demonstration of appropriate sanitization of work surfaces. As I segue over to our community development director, Elizabeth Runge.
Thank you, Greg.
Right over. I was 6 feet away, but now I slid over.
I was going to say, Elizabeth, oh, thank goodness you're here. I don't know who that crazy man was.
Oh, wait, I went the wrong way. There we go.
There you go.
Hi, Craig. I think he loves being on camera there. He's perfect for that.
And the camera loves him.
There we go. So thank you for having me, and I will. I'll say Runge.
Right. Thank you. I'm so sorry.
No. Many questions. Is it a hard G? Is it not? So I asked my husband. Of course, it's Runge.
Runge. I'm a mess with names. You can ask Darla. I shouldn't be allowed on live broadcasts, but
absolutely. This is a wonderful show. I'm so happy to be on. Yes. So I'm not going to be as good as Greg is at just going on and on off the cuff. So I'll do my best at sharing some of the information that we're doing. Oh, got to get that hair out of the way. So I think one of the first things I'll say right off the top is what we're trying to do is share information that Greg ended his conversation with you all about, and that is some of the SBA programs. But just before I even dive into some of that is the supporting our local businesses. And something that Greg thought of was, keep calm and carry out. So we've been trying to support as many of our local restaurants as we can here in City Hall, and that our waistlines can. So we've been trying to order out all the time, and there's so many good restaurants to do that, and we have. So we've been connecting our website, of course, with Main Street, and Roger, who runs the Main Street program, has a list of local restaurants, as does other Manitowoc websites. So they have the numbers, the hours, and the Facebook pages that you can connect to see the menu options and how you can order. So we've been doing that. Some are delivering, some are doing carry out, some are doing combinations of those with different hours to allow you to do that. And we are. And so if you feel comfortable doing that, then support your local businesses. And if those stores doing retail can let you order things via the internet, please support your local businesses. So we're trying to do that and promote that. So one of the other things, and I can dive right in, and if you guys have any questions, please let me know, is the SBA, and that's the Small Business Administration. And we have a link to a lot of this, as do others, about some of the programs that are out there. And we have it on our homepage, and it's been posted on the Two Rivers Facebook page too. And that is what is immediately available to small businesses, and that is the disaster help loan. And under the SBA program, they're offering assistance to small businesses. So you can get there many different ways. You can go directly to SBA, and that link is on our webpage. You can also go to Progress Lakeshore. They can help walk you through that, and can the SBDC centers, which are at UWGB, UW Oshkosh, and they can help walk you through that and apply. And so there's a link on our page, tworivers.org. Yep, it's posted. That are some of the items that you're going to need, and it's background data of your business, your earnings, and kind of in the weeds as to your payroll and those kinds of things. And those are items that you can upload once you get the paperwork that SBA program needs, and then you can upload it all when you're completed and apply, because apparently the website has crashed initially when this program was mentioned as a source of funds. There is also a micro and small business loan program too, which will fast track up to $25,000 for small businesses, and you have to go through a CFDI or CDFI, which is a certified small business loan institution, and the closest one is the Women's Business Initiative Corporation, which is WIBIC. And we also have a link to that program, and they will work with you as well. And they are accepting new clients because at first they were just doing existing. They will also accept new, and we have contact information for that. But if you need anything about this, you can contact me as well. So those are two big ones that are doing cash right now. And as you all know, the economic stimulus, the emergency loan package at the federal level has gone through both the House and the Senate. And I can give you just a few highlights at the moment because that's all I know. But it will apparently be giving up to $35 billion of forgivable small business loans. At the national level, when you break it down, some of the tidbits that are coming out right now is that there will be loan forgiveness, not just loans that you have to pay back. So loan forgiveness, looking at about an 8-week period for loans for payroll, rent, and mortgage interest and utility costs that businesses could be eligible for. So that's a big one, of course, that people are looking for assistance. So those are highlights. And then different agencies, EDA, CDBG, other things that are just kind of alphabet soup to people, but different agencies that are at the federal level and then local that we can kind of funnel into, if necessary, will be made available. Once we get more details, I can share some of that. But the biggie is forgivable loans to small businesses that we can share with you at this moment from the federal bill that we know about that's trickling out. Some tips that we can provide at the moment, of course, are just for businesses and folks to talk to their mortgage lenders, call any other people that may have that you have a loan with to ask for an extension. As Greg mentioned, we are active loan holders. We have provided a loan forbearance program for 3 months, 90 days, and we are willing to look at it beyond that point once we look at July and what is happening at that point. So that was kind of a quick and dirty list of what I have, and there are other programs too that we have links to and could certainly talk with people on an individual level. And I just thought I would kind of quick go to that, and if there are any questions I can try to answer, I'm happy to do that too.
That sounds great, Elizabeth. Thank you for taking the time to go through those with us. And hope that you and your family are all doing well too right now.
To you too as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Darla, did you have any questions?
No, I think that was pretty succinct, and I really do appreciate you giving us that information. Things change and happen so quickly, not just day to day, but hour by hour, things are changing or getting updated. But it's nice to know that, and I know that like right before Todd and I did our community events portion of the show, that the $2 trillion package had passed.
Right.
So, that's, but I, still going to have to see how that all pans out in the end. But, and I had shared those other, like the SBA and the WEBIC, on that particular portion. And so it's nice to know that there are places, that people can rely on for their small businesses, because people are hurting terribly right now.
Right.
And, but that's one thing, once we get out of the weeds with this and, we're able to come back out into the sunlight, we're really going to have to focus on our small businesses in the area and make sure that they can get rolling again. So it's going to be an interesting time. But I think that the small businesses in this area know that the city has their back, that a lot of people have their back, and we're going to do everything we possibly can.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. And I think that even when we had some discussion with the Main Street group, that obviously cash was one of the first thing that they mentioned that they need. And I hope that just like Greg had mentioned, the city is looking at, the learning curve for us, implementing new technology for our everyday operations, that for the businesses that can look at some of those implementation tools for how they conduct their business, and maybe a little bit of diversification. And again, that applies to us and how we deliver our services. That might be something that if they can and have that opportunity to look at now in this moment, perhaps that's something that they can explore as well.
Right. It's vital now.
Yeah.
It's here. So we do have to learn it. And it's not as difficult as you think it might be, or, it's nothing to be afraid of. I was leery because I'd never used it before. It worked beautifully. Totally relaxed now.
Right. Well, and I'm hoping like Biz Starts, Todd's specialty, that can maybe be a tool of learning for different marketing techniques and other ways to explore, again, diversification of a business operation and other ways that they can tap into other markets that they may not otherwise think that they can.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think we're, from the BizStart side, there are a lot of smart people that are involved with that group. I'm by all means not like the be all and the end all of the brain trust there. Just a lot of really helpful people who want to be able to offer some of their expertise and understanding. Right. And the larger BizStarts organization based out of Milwaukee, a lot of people there who are experienced coaches who can help and provide some ideas, input, and emotional support at the same time, because this is truly a harrowing time for small business owners, and we got to do everything we can to help them through.
Definitely. So we'll be looking at that, and we do have some projects to look forward to as well, just hoping to get through some of this.
Right. Wonderful.
And welcome to the city, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
We're to have you on.
We're so glad you're here.
Has it really been 6 months?
I didn't even realize it's been that long when Greg had said that, because it's it feels like I've been here forever on the one hand, but then when I learn about, new property owners who have a project that they're thinking about or other things, it's something that I learn too every day. So it's been thrilling. I really, really love it here.
Well, we're very fortunate to have you, and thank you so much for choosing Two Rivers, to kind of, because you jumped right into the fire right when you first got here. I mean, oh my gosh. So I give you a lot of credit. And now with everything that's going on, I mean, everybody's experiencing it. But you've had an interesting 6 months. So thank you for sticking with it.
Thrilled to be here, and I look forward to the next 6 months.
6 years, 16 years.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you both.
And we'll look forward to having you back on the show again too, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for coming on, and to Greg as well for spending some time with us here today. I think that winds us up, Darla. What do you think?
I think that was a very good episode, and I'm going to work very hard to get this out to the public as soon as possible so that they can hear what our city government is up to and what Greg has to say, and to meet Elizabeth. And I think that this was a really good show today. I'm very glad we did this.
I think it went okay. I think the worst thing that maybe happened through this recording was maybe a couple of small glitches in the internet, but that's unavoidable in these days. So
right. No, I think it was very, very good.
Great. Well, Darla, looking forward to more of these. And I think that brings us to the end of another great show. So,
yeah, and I hope to see you in the flesh. Well, you know what I mean. Sometime soon. In person. How's that?
Right. Yes, in person. Right.
So we can still, it might be a couple months from now, and we can still observe the 6 foot rule if you want. That's cool. But until then, this is going to be a great substitute, and we'll just continue on with our every 2 weeks coming out with news for the community so that they know what's going on. So, it's been a real privilege, for us to be able to do this for the community. And I hold it in high regard. And to me, it's very important that we continue on. And you're an awesome friend. So I like hanging out with you.
You are too, Darla. And I think it's a strong community. We're going to get through this together, and we're going to come out on the other side of this even stronger. So, yeah.
Fantastic.
All right.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you, Darla. I will see you next time.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. See you out on the streets.